Okay, so I chose to do an annotation over the SPIN's project's strategic communications planning brochure, I guess if you wanna call it that. So basically, they split up into four different parts. You can see at the left side of the screen right here, and it goes down to strategic communications, the pyramid, get to work, and follow through. Basically, just organizing this brochure. The first starts off like what's important, why strategic communications. Basically says any organization, anything that they do, communication is involved. You need to be able to effectively do that. That's basically what that first section is about. And then they go on to the way in which to do that, and that's through the pyramid they explain. There's 6 different levels of the pyramid. And I'm going to go in order and pretty much, not going to say dumb down, but give you in layman terms what each means. So with number 1, sorry, give me 1 second. The first level, and it does say start from the ground up, which I think is really important. It says communications infrastructure, right? And that's basically like accountability and understanding among the team as to what the jobs are, what you're doing, and that good stuff. And then it goes on to the second part, which I think is kind of like a part B to one, in which talks about goals. And goals are the why. When you think of the two together, level 1 and level 2, it's kind of when you say know yourself before getting into a relationship with someone else, right? You need to think of corporations as these big organisms that are branching out to other organisms to create relationships, and before they can do that, they need to know the inner aspects and infrastructure of their company and their communication skills. Number 3, you can kind of just think of it as who am I talking to, right? Who has the money? Who can get me where I need to go? Who am I talking to? And then number 4 is kind of who am I talking for? Talking for a specific target audience. And it kind of goes into this area right here where it talks about, the way in which to best represent your target audience. If you want to establish expertise, social psychology has taught us that you need to be confident, you need to be consistent, and you need to provide information that isn't often provided for the majority. And so when you're presenting that information to your target audience, you want to make sure that your audience that you're doing this for is well represented in that information. Number 5 is frame the issue. Basically, you want to think this kind of like a headline, right? And when you think of headlines, you want them to be provocative, right? It gets the people going. I actually really debated if I should do a Blaze of Glory, a GIF like I did, or if I should do Jay Jameson from Spider-Man. New headline, Spider-Man. Anyways, I'm sorry. Number 6 on the list, most importantly, is craft and discipline your message, right? This is kind of like your mission. It's kind of like your mission statement. Like, what are you getting out there? And it breaking down to problem, solution, and action. What I think is really important about solution is that it relies heavily on pathos. Yes, pathos. I'm pretty sure I did okay in high school English. I'm pretty sure it's pathos, not ethos. And you won't really put this in consideration when you're making that final message. When we think about the main idea of this article, okay, I'm sorry, I skipped ahead a little bit. And then at the very end, it talks about getting to work and stuff like that. And at one point on the left side of the screen, you'll see they give a few options of platforms in which you can get your communication team to, started in. And it seems as though organizational websites is the best because you can constantly recraft your message. It can be edited. And compared to the cons, it's kind of much more on the pro side. The only thing is you have to be constantly be on it, which may not always be possible for small startup companies. Which brings us to my next point. For number 1, what's the main idea? It's kind of effective communication, but specifically effective communication for corporations and organizations, and communicating to their audience and to prospective targets. Now, there we go. Number 2, the target in this case is nonprofit or startup organizations. They're making this to communicate to them on how to communicate to other avenues and other audiences. Specifically, startup companies, as I said. This is for smaller people who are just getting into things. Number 3, something I really enjoyed, well, not necessarily enjoyed, but liked, was that they're constantly through this rhetoric, and I can't find an exact example at the moment, but they're constantly saying the best communication may not come from you, right? Actually, here we go, right? So you want to select trained spokespeople, right? You want the people presenting this information to be people who actually can do it well and actually can get your message across the best way. So while you may be doing a lot of stuff on the back burner or behind the scenes to get things started, you may not be the one to actually communicate the message, and that's okay. One thing I'm kind of missing, that's number 4 of this, is what if you're the audience, right? For number 4, the people we're talking for in the pyramid, right? It says you have to be well represented of your actual audience. But what if your audience is just one person? If it's a singular person and that person is you, where does that look like? But then again, this is a brochure made for startup companies who are doing things on a much larger scale. So oftentimes this isn't going to be an audience of one type thing. But overall, it was a great read and enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy my annotation.